Hello everybody, Shrouded Hand here. An unusual topic for today, monkey attacks in India. As urban sprawl decimates more and more of the natural habitat for India's wildlife, local monkey populations have taken to the cities in order to find food and water. You might expect that this would lead to some nuisance behaviour, stolen food, bins getting raided, a few people getting bitten, but the reality is much darker. The human-monkey conflict has led to some truly horrific incidents, as we shall see. Uttar Pradesh is a state in northern India. It is home to one of the most impressive landmarks in the world, the Taj Mahal. The region is densely populated and attracts hundreds of thousands of tourists every year. Additionally, the area is home to a large population of monkeys, specifically rhesus macaques, that roam free throughout many of the state's towns and cities. Tourists venturing into these regions are advised against attempting to feed the monkeys, and they're recommended to keep their belongings secure because these animals are known to snatch items from unsuspecting tourists. Despite the warnings, tourists often view these monkeys as a harmless and bizarre form of attraction. Locals, however, view the monkeys as pests, and over the years an increasingly fierce human-animal conflict has arisen in these areas. One of the reasons why the monkey populations are allowed to grow so large in India is because in Hinduism monkeys are considered to be sacred. Despite this, there have been attempts to control the population. For example, in 2016, the Uttar Pradesh government declared monkeys to be vermin, and for 6 months they incentivized people to kill them. However, this quickly got the attention of animal rights activists, and there was a large outcry from international groups, so the government dropped the campaign. Instead, they just shifted the narrative. They now said that monkeys and humans mostly coexisted in harmony. Unsurprisingly, a change in narrative doesn't actually solve the problem. Now, with an unchecked, ever-growing monkey population and authorities who were too scared to do anything about it, the macaques grew bolder. Pretty soon the situation got completely out of control and the monkeys became increasingly violent. Now, one scary thing about monkey attacks is that seems that they don't just resort to violence when threatened or cornered. As this article reports, villagers in Lavul village in the Bid district of Maharashtra reported langur monkeys engaged in what seemed to be targeted killings of neighbourhood puppies by snatching them and taking them up to deadly heights. The villagers claimed the monkeys were carrying out revenge killings after dogs had killed an infant monkey. In the last 2 or 3 months, there have been incidents where langurs roaming in the area would catch puppies and take them to a place with considerable height to throw them from there. At least 250 dogs have been killed so far, a villager told the Indian news agency. Now that's langur monkeys. In places like Uttar Pradesh, the main problem seems to be the macaques. Now, whilst adult macaques are not particularly large animals, they do possess razor-sharp canines capable of inflicting significant damage. Male macaques, especially after reaching sexual maturity, are known to become very aggressive. What's even worse is that they typically move in troops, numbering between 20 and 200 monkeys, which means that in an event of a monkey attack, you wouldn't just be facing one single macaque, but a whole gang of them. In 2018, a 72-year-old man named Dharampal Singh was collecting pieces of wood when suddenly a brick landed next to him. Looking up, he noticed a group of monkeys perched in a tree high above him, holding bricks. The monkeys began pelting bricks at him from the treetop. He was hit in the head and chest multiple times. He was killed on the spot. The victim's brother told a newspaper, "Monkeys threw more than 20 bricks at Dharampal on Thursday. These rogue monkeys are the real culprits and they must pay for it." Sadly, the family didn't receive justice. In response to this attack, Chitwan Singh, the local police officer, said, "How could we register this case against monkeys? This would make us a laughingstock." Dharampal Singh's death is fairly rare. Fatalities from monkey attacks on adult humans in India are not that common. Obviously, a full-grown adult human is quite a lot larger than a rhesus macaque monkey. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for children. One particularly tragic incident occurred in the Bagpat district on the 9th of December 2022. 2.5-month-old Keshav Kumar was being looked after by his grandmother. She placed the boy in a crib in the terrace room and then fell asleep next to her grandson. Unfortunately, she didn't close the doors to the room, and this turned out to be a fatal mistake. When she woke up, the little boy was nowhere to be found. The grandmother panicked and began shouting, alerting the other family members. Together they began searching frantically for the missing boy, but it seemed like he'd just vanished into thin air. Several hours later, they discovered Keshav Kumar's body floating in a water tank on the roof of the house. His heartbroken parents later revealed that over the last few days, a group of monkeys had made several attempts to kidnap the baby, but each time a watchful family member had managed to shoo the monkeys away. It seems that these animals just didn't give up. Instead, they proceeded to stalk the family, waiting for the right moment to strike. As soon as Keshav's grandmother fell asleep, the monkeys silently entered the terrace room, took the boy from the crib, carried him up to the roof and drowned him in the water tank. This incident sparked a major outcry from the local community. Residents began gathering outside the family's house, attempting to pressure the local administration into addressing the monkey problem. However, it doesn't seem that any significant action was ever taken by the authorities. That very same year, there was a tragic incident involving a 5-year-old girl named Narmada. She was playing with her friends by the Nakatia River. Suddenly, the children were swarmed by a group of monkeys. What exactly happened to provoke the monkeys is completely unclear, but soon locals were alerted by the sounds of screaming children. They rushed to the riverbank and they found the monkeys swarming around, viciously attacking one child in particular, little Narmada. The locals managed to chase the monkeys away. The girl was left lying on the ground. She was horribly bitten and covered in blood, but still alive. Her father arrived on the scene. As he later said in an interview, "There have been cases of monkeys attacking children, but in this case the monkeys were extremely aggressive and had bitten my daughter almost everywhere. When I reached the spot, my daughter was crying for help." Narmada was rushed to hospital. Her injuries were extremely severe. Portions of her skin had been literally ripped from her body. Sadly, she succumbed to her injuries and died in hospital due to blood loss. A local police officer named Ashok Kumar commented on this incident saying, "The locals have demanded that the monkeys be trapped. We advised them to take help from the forest department and Gram Panchayat office. No FIR is possible in this case." This comment is pretty telling of what kind of response the locals were expecting versus what the authorities could actually do. FIR, or First Incident Report, is a document in India that sets the process of criminal justice in motion. It's used by police to initiate investigations into a criminal matter. So when the officer said no FIR is possible in this case, it seems that locals were expecting the monkeys to face some kind of criminal justice. Now, this probably sounds a bit insane, but it's not that crazy. India actually did have a jail for monkeys. This was part of a wildlife sanctuary where the very worst offender monkeys were sent. On the 4th of July 2022, the village of Dunka in Uttar Pradesh had experienced a power outage. Nirdesh Upadhyay and his family were preparing for a birthday party for his eldest son when the electricity went out. This caused his youngest son, who was just 4 months old, to start crying. This baby boy hadn't been named yet. A naming ceremony had been scheduled for a few months later. Nirdesh and his wife tried to soothe the crying baby with a cool evening breeze. They took him up to the terraced roof atop the 3-story building where they lived to enjoy the Friday evening air. It wasn't long before they attracted the attention of a troop of macaques. The monkeys jumped onto their terrace from another building. The macaques were behaving aggressively, and the couple attempted to stand their ground and drive the animals away, but the monkeys didn't back down. They began taunting the family, and they surrounded Nirdesh whilst he was holding his son in his arms. 2 monkeys jumped onto Nirdesh and began biting him. At this point, the family realised that the situation was escalating out of control, and they attempted to run for the stairs. Tragically, as they were running away, Nirdesh stumbled and his son fell from his hands. Before he could react, a monkey grabbed his 4-month-old son and threw him off the roof. Alerted by the father's screams, other family members rushed out onto the terrace roof, but they were quickly swarmed by enraged monkeys, resulting in a number of them getting injured. Meanwhile, Nirdesh and his wife ran down the stairs to check on their baby, only to find, tragically, that there was nothing they could do. Nirdesh would later recall, "One of them seemed to be leading the troop, and he grabbed my son. I screamed for help and then rushed down to find my son splattered in blood." Authorities were quickly called to investigate the incident, and they determined that the infant had died instantly. In November 2023, in Gujarat, a 10-year-old schoolboy named Deepak Thakur was playing with his friends on a school field near a local temple. Suddenly, the children were attacked by a group of extremely aggressive monkeys. Officials would later admit that this particular group of primates had been causing serious trouble in the neighbourhood, and that this was the 3rd attack on children that week. The monkeys descended upon the 10-year-old, biting and scratching him furiously. The attack was so savage that they managed to break through his skin, dig into his abdomen, and tear out his intestines. Amazingly, this boy managed to somehow fend off the monkeys and escape. He ran home, and his shocked parents rushed him to the hospital. Unfortunately, as the adrenaline wore off, Deepak passed away before the doctors even had a chance to tend to his wounds. In response to an increasing number of fatal incidents involving children in India, particularly in Uttar Pradesh, authorities have made renewed efforts to manage the monkey population and minimise the risk of conflicts. These included sterilisation programs, the creation of monkey shelters or sanctuaries, and public awareness campaigns discouraging the feeding of monkeys. In some cases, officials have employed more creative methods. For example, in New Delhi, they used cutouts of langurs to scare away other monkeys when the city hosted the G20 summit. They also hired 30 monkey men who went around the city mimicking the hoots and screams of the langur in an attempt to deter monkeys from the area whilst VIPs were visiting. These measures have had varying degrees of success. It's not surprising then that occasionally local residents will take matters into their own hands. In 2023, in Hapur, Uttar Pradesh, residents were alerted by a horrible stench which turned out to be coming from the rotting bodies of at least 40 monkeys. It was later revealed that these animals had died from mass poisoning. Poisoned jaggery and watermelons were found near a place where the monkeys usually hung out. Later that same year, villagers in Munigapada discovered 100 monkey carcasses dumped near a local farm. Investigations revealed that the monkeys had died elsewhere and then been transported to the farm, likely in an attempt to conceal the identity of the killer. Again, it was found that these monkeys had most likely died as a result of mass poisoning. It seems like tensions between the humans and the monkeys are at an all-time high. I do wonder where this might lead. Already we've got reports of macaques taking over government buildings in Punjab. As it says here, bands of menacing monkeys have taken over an Indian government structure in Punjab and are terrorising office workers and security guards. The Punjab and Haryana Civil Secretariat, which houses the offices of chief ministers of both states, has literally been taken over by monkeys. Workers in the building are advised to not make eye contact with these easily annoyed monkeys. The other day one monkey caught hold of my jacket from behind. I did not turn and I kept moving. The monkey went away, the CISF official told the Express. If they can't even keep the monkeys from invading official government buildings, then I don't really see where this whole thing stops. With more and more monkeys inhabiting these urban areas, it means that humans and macaques will soon be fighting over the same dwindling resources. These macaques are intelligent, aggressive, and highly adaptable, perhaps even more adaptable and aggressive than humans. So could we be on the brink of a full-on interspecies war? Could we see a mass displacement of people as the monkeys just become too numerous to handle? Anyway, that's the horrible reality of living with monkeys. I hope you found this video interesting, and thank you very much for watching. Shout out, as always, to everyone on Patreon who is supporting the channel. Thank you very much. Here's some more videos you might find interesting. Until next time, goodbye.